Hello, welcome to the Jones Zone. So, I'm not even sure what number this is now, actually, because I'm that far ahead of time that I'm filming vlogs out of order. So this is in between some of the Mail Day videos, I think. And I wanted to do something a little bit different, which is I wanted to show you my bass guitar collection, I guess, if you will. So, I just want to give a little bit of backstory about myself. I'm not going to get too personal because, like I said, I don't want to get into anything really personal and anything political. But basically, music's my thing. That's like my career path. I'm going to be training to be a music teacher at secondary school. And I went to a music university. It was called BIM, which if you're in the UK you might be familiar with it. I went to the London one. It stands for the British and Irish Institute of Modern Music, and I went there for 4 years. It was really great, and I came out, got a degree in popular music performance, and obviously initially I was intending to be a session musician, which is still not something that I would completely rule out, but I enjoy being in the band that I'm in, and I enjoy teaching music, so that's how I've ended up at that path. But I just wanted to give that a little bit of backstory. So I've been playing bass guitar for about 10 years now. I started in high school, and again, it was my high school experience that has essentially made me circle back round and want to teach music at high school, because I had a really great time learning music there, and I want to, give back. Yeah, I've been playing bass for 10 years, and for most of that time I've always played fingerstyle, which if you don't know anything about bass guitar, basically there's a few different ways you could play the bass guitar. There's the main ones are fingerstyle, picking and slapping. Those are the ones that you'll know, but then there's also things like double thumbing, and there's tapping, and it gets pretty outlandish. There's a lot of different techniques that I learned at university. But yeah, and I played fingerstyle for most of my bass playing life because I preferred it. I was never very good with a pick, but being in a alt rock band with a lot of heavy effects required me to play with a pick, so I had to start making myself play with a pick more. And thankfully, I picked it up really quickly. But that's why I wanted to bring that up, because I've got some picks here which I want to show first, because I want to show the sort of progression I went through of using picks. Because obviously I played guitar before bass, and in primary school I played classical guitar, which is all finger style anyway, and then in high school I played electric guitar, and I didn't really like it, which is why I ultimately moved to bass. And the reason I moved to bass, it's more in demand, and initially people say, oh, it's easier to pick up than guitar, and it is. It's easier to learn the basics of bass than it is guitar, but it's harder to well, I wouldn't say necessarily it's harder to master bass than it is guitar, because I think they're both incredibly difficult to master anyway. But bass doesn't get enough credit for how difficult it is to actually master that instrument. There is so many sorry, there's so many little intricacies to bass guitar that just make it really, really difficult. So these are the picks I started with, actually, which they're called Stubby Triangle, and it's purple, it's a triangle, and you can see that one's quite thick, and it's really like sturdy, it doesn't bend. And again, Stubby Triangle, it's thick but not as thick. You can see through it a little bit. If I just hold them together, you can kind of see the colour difference, because the thicker one is a stronger purple. These I don't use anymore. These are a nightmare to play with. They are so horrible, so uncomfortable. I don't know how anyone plays with thick picks. The only thing I can think of that these would be good for is really heavy metal, because it would just, you know, really dig in. And then when we went to record the album, this was the pick that I became fond of, and I recorded the whole album using these picks, which is why I've got quite a lot of them. Again, they're purple. These are Dunlop USA 1.14mm picks, and again, these are also quite sturdy, not as flimsy, because I believed for a while I didn't want a flimsy pick, because bass strings are thicker. However, we got to the end of the album, and I started trying out this on some of the heavier songs, which is the Dunlop USA 0.73mm, which is a yellow pick, and you can see like there's a bit of give to it. It's not as sturdy. This is now my main pick. These are the picks I use because I don't have to hold back. With these purple ones, I have to hold back a little bit. I have to be like really accurate and more restrained. With these ones, I can literally just dig in, and it's a lot better. So I know this might not be interesting for everyone, but this is just something that I thought would be quite nice to do, see if there's any other musicians out there. But yeah, so now we're going to move on to the bass guitars. But before we do, don't forget to leave a like, comment and subscribe, and check out the Facebook and Patreon in the description below. Any way you can support us helps out the channel massively, and we are very grateful for your support. I myself am beyond grateful for any support you give us. So I'm going to go handheld actually for the bass guitars. I'll show you how I have them in my room, and then I'll sort of lay them across my bed to show them a little bit better, and then we might come back to here. I don't know. We'll see how the video goes. Okay, we are handheld. Let me know how steady this is, because this was quite a cheap C-shaped steady cam rig. So I have this Gorilla Stands rack, which I got from the same friend actually that gave me all the Yu-Gi-Oh cards. So yeah, gave me this. He's given me a lot of stuff over the years. Yeah, and this is my old strap because it's got tape on it, because this is all nasty and broken. I've got a black version of the same strap with this. Basically what this is, it's a wireless pouch. So I use a wireless system which is set up to my Kemper, and that's my live setup. As you'll notice, this bass here, my Fender Jazz, is very dusty because it doesn't get a lot of love, but we'll get into it. We'll look at the basses one at a time. I have my three main basses on here, and then this is like my main mono bass case, which has got a bass in it which is a cheaper bass. It was one that I got from again the same friend, but it's actually not bad. It needs a bit of TLC, which I'm going to give it, and yeah, it'll be a very playable bass. So I'm just going to cut briefly so I can set it all up. Alright, so here we have all four of my bass guitars. I want to get more bass guitars obviously, but like I'll explain why I have so many, and you know why bassists and guitarists always want to get more basses and guitars. It's you know, it's a big thing. So we'll start with this one. Also, all my bass guitars have names as well, which I will reveal. They are quite embarrassing, some of them, but yeah. And I'll also, I used to have two other basses which I sold. My very beginner bass, which is a Benson in red, and if you're a guitarist or a bassist, you'll know exactly what a Benson is. Weighed a ton. It was like carrying a cement block on your back. I'll put a picture of what that looks like, but it was like 80 quid. You'd get a bass, you'd get an amp, you'd get a jack lead, you'd get a case. so obviously it wasn't great because it was 80 quid and you got all of that. Yeah, and then I also, that was called Amy, and I'll get back to that. And then I also had a Epiphone Blackbird Nicky 6 signature, who's is he the bassist for Meatloaf or Def Leppard or something like that? And I used to think it looked really cool, which is why I got it. But it is actually a really hideous bass, and again I'll put a picture of it. And that was called Johann Schmidt, because we think that was one of the names of the Hydra guys in Captain America. And we just thought it was funny. We thought it was because it's quite a brutal looking bass, so we thought we'd name him after a Hydra member. Yeah, so this is my first, what I consider proper bass guitar. It's a Fender jazz bass, made in Mexico, in a brown sunburst finish. This was about 600 quid when I got it. That's why I consider it my first proper bass, because it's a Fender jazz bass. It's like a staple, and that's what a jazz bass configuration looks like. You got volumes and tone. Yeah. Then the next bass I got. This bass is called Clara, and that's why the other one was called Amy, because they were named after Doctor Who companions. Some of them, those are the only two I've named after Doctor Who companions, and they're just two of my favourite modern era companions. Yeah. So moving on, we have this bass, my Rickenbacker 4003 S. This is like my dream bass, and I want to get more of these basses. Rickenbacker is what I consider the mother of all bass guitars, and this has got so many features. It's got bass tone, treble volume, bass volume, treble tone. If you pull the treble tone in and out, that creates the vintage Ricky sound. You know, you pick up selector. This is a absolutely outstanding bass. It sounds so brutal, and this bass is called the Ricky, obviously, because when I get Rickenbackers, I want to have them all be named after Rickenbacker. So this one's called the Ricky. I want to get one called the Rickinator. You know, just things like that. So that's my Rickenbacker. Then I got this bass, which is my Flea signature Fender jazz bass. It's modelled after a 60s jazz bass, and it's configured like a 60s jazz bass as well. So you got these for other volumes, and it has these for the tone. And this, you can't really tell, but it's in shell pink. But there's the Flea signature. Where was this made? Also Mexico, by the looks of it. Although it doesn't look like they've spelt Mexico right. But yeah, so price wise, that was about 600. This is 1,500. No, actually this was 1,675. And this was 950, I want to say something like that. Yeah, so this one it is shell pink. It's hard to tell sometimes in the light. It's a really nice shell pink, and when you see it, like when you see the pink come out, it's actually really, really nice pink. And because it's pink in colour, I called this one Princess Carolyn, which is a character from BoJack Horseman. Yeah, so there's that one. And here's the new one, which is a Westfield bass. Now, as this was given to me, I don't know how much it is. It is more of a beginner bass. However, this is one of the nicest beginner basses I think I've ever played in my life. The neck's actually really alright. I'm going to get a Fender neck for it, just so it goes with the rest of my bass guitars. But what's nice about this is a precision bass, or more commonly referred to as a P bass. So that's what this does that this doesn't, is punchier. Precision bass is a punchier. The flea bass is really good at imitating a precision bass, and I think that's just because it's a flea bass, you slap it. So there's that. But yeah, this is, I guess, a sort of hot pink. It's actually not too bad. It's not too striking. It's actually quite nice. But yeah, this is yet to receive a name. I might name it after another Doctor Who companion. I might give it a name like Princess Carolyn or Johann Schmidt. Who knows? But yeah, I've yet to give it a name because I've yet to tend to it. It needs new strings first of all, so I can play it and it doesn't feel horrible. Because that's the only thing that lets this down at the moment, is it hasn't got fresh strings on it. But yeah, so those are my bass guitars. So I've only got 4 at the moment. There is plans for more. But yeah, I hope you liked this video. If you like music, if you like bass guitars, this is definitely a video for you. Let me know if you want to see more videos like this. And I'm just gonna flip around so you can see me. Yeah, let me know if you want to see more videos like this. And don't forget to leave a like, comment and subscribe. Check out the Facebook and Patreon links in the description below. And I'll see you tomorrow.